beginnings are always very interesting and exciting. A great book, in my mind, is a great idea, and that's the reason you pick up the book, but that's not the reason you read the book. The reason you read the book is because a great idea is told through a great story. So let me begin with the story of a couple of ants who found themselves in a book library. And there was an ant which ran up the stairs into the business section of the book, which read 10 steps to make a presentation. Another ant ran up to another bookstore and saying, how can you become a CEO in your first 10 years? A third ant ran up the store and saying, how can you earn your first $1 million in 3 years? So all these ants were running around trying to grab onto books, to try and grab onto ideas which can make them rich, which can make them grow fast, which can make them become CEOs, which can make them all things they wanted to become. There was one ant sitting on a chair with legs up, looking outside and laughing his head off. And all these ants running around were looking at this ant who was laughing his head off and not looking at any book, not reading anything else, and saying, this guy is mad. But this guy has his legs up, looking outside and laughing his head off. And then they got together and saying, what's happened? What's wrong with you? Why are you not reading anything? He says, because I don't want to be a rich ant. I don't want to be a fast ant. I don't want to be a general management ant. I don't want to be a good presentation ant. I want to be a butterfly. I want to stop being an ant. I think we have too many ants floating around in our business community, in our societies, in our conversations, and we need more people who don't want to do what others have done. And these people start with an assumption that I don't want to be an ant anymore. I want to be a butterfly. When you look at the word transform, which is changing the form of something, transform is changing the form of something permanently. Transform. How can you change the form of something permanently by doing what others have done before you? You cannot. Therefore, great ideas and great books and great stories are about ideas which have the possibility of transforming society, business, community, anybody. And that word transform led me to a discovery of an idea. And that idea was, why do we have so few Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Nelson Mandelas, Mahatma Gandhis, Martin Luther Kings? Why don't we have these sets of peoples in billions? Why do we have them in handful? I don't know what the right answer is. But it really comes down to the definition of what does it take somebody to succeed. What does high performance individual and high performance teams mean? What does it take for a person to be high performance? And it comes from the belief that high performing individual or high performing team believes that they can do what others considered impossible. So that's a definition. There is no book on my table. There is right in front of me. But this is a quote which is right in front of my table for the last 20, 25 years, that high performance individuals and high performance teams do stuff which others consider impossible. Now, if you think about that definition, the question you need to ask is, what percentage of your time are you attempting the impossible? I mentor a lot of young kids. I'm uncle to a whole lot of people, some in school, some in colleges, some doing startups, some about to get married, some about to get divorced. All kinds of people walk into my office, and I make sure that I have never ever said no to any young person. And I think it comes down to the single thing which I keep on telling them: what percentage of your time are you attempting the impossible? I know you are thinking of the impossible. You want to do the impossible. What percentage of your time are you attempting the impossible? And that brings back to the idea of a diamond cutter gets excited with rough diamond, not cut diamond. A potter gets excited with rough clay, not finished pot. And therefore, in your life, if you are not attracted with challenges, with stuff others have not done below, by all the dirt around you, how can you transform, or how can you even inspire yourself to achieve the impossible? So if we ever wish to transform something, including yourself, if you ever wish to be a high performance, then the journey becomes on attempting the impossible. That takes me segues to two ideas which I would like to share with you today. And that idea first came from, I was running a company called HCL, and everybody was growing faster than we were growing. The question is, how do you transform a legacy company? So the 100,000 people who came together with an idea of how do you transform the company came up with a brilliant idea. And the idea was in three questions, which is the idea of asking the right question. The first question was, what is the core business we are in? And the core business we are in is to create unique, differentiated value for our customers. The second question is, who creates the unique, differentiated value for our customers? The answer is our employees. Our employees who are meeting the customers create the unique, differentiated value for our customers. And third was, if our employees are the differentiator or are creating the unique differentiation, then what should the role of managers and management be? And that is where the idea, the Eureka moment hit us, that the business of managers and management can be nothing but enthusing, encouraging, enabling the employees to create the differentiated value so that you can grow faster. Thus was born the idea, employees first, customer second. So if you truly want to transform the organization on a unique idea and turn the conventional wisdom upside down, you have to make the employee the CEO. And you have to make the CEO an employee. So my appraisal was done by 100,000 employees confidentially, and the results were published for all to see. And it was very clear, if my score in the organization went below a certain level, we had a 9-point scale, so if it went below 8, I would lose my job. So therefore, I drew my power as a CEO and vice chairman of HCL Technologies from the employees. So with no new product, with no new service, with no new geography, with the same set of employees, we grew 6 times in 5 years in revenue, market cap, everything. So where does this power of a human being originate? And to try and understand it, you have to understand where did we go wrong as a society, especially in India. When the Industrial Revolution came in, Industrial Revolution came up with an idea of the fact that if you make something possible in a short period of time, that is productivity improvement. So therefore, the car manufacturing moved away from an individual making a car to somebody only fixing the tire and somebody only fixing the mirror. So the whole industrial age came together by cutting a process into small sections of processes and a group of 10 people producing 100. That's how Industrial Revolution came in. With the Industrial Revolution coming in, the concept called manager came in. Manager, by the way, the source of the word manager, I'll come to that in a little later, but the job of manager was resource optimization, ability to get people together, and 10 people should produce an equivalent of 100. That's how the manager was born. But unfortunately, the origination of manager is a French word which is breaking a horse into submission, and the managers took it seriously. They actually broke the employees into submission, and that is what they thought the industrial age is all about. The industrial age was left behind, and the new innovation came in. The Bill Gates of the world and Steve Jobs of the world and Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, they started coming in, and they said it is not the productivity and the processes, but actually it is the innovation which is going to rule the roost of next year, which is where Netflix and everything is coming in. So when you move to innovation, the question is, how do you make an organization innovative? For that, you need to inspire the people to do innovation, not manage them. And when you talk to your sons and daughters, they will tell you they don't want to be managed anymore, right? They want an equal stake in the table. And therefore, the management had to change the way from managing, the old way, to leading, to inspiring, the new way. Unfortunately, we did not make this transition. So employee first, customer second was one of those unique ideas, and that's how Harvard Business School approached me to write the book in 2010. And I don't know how many of you know that the book has sold the maximum number of copies in US and the second maximum number of copies in France, of all the places. So when you look at the transition, people started understanding that our future belongs to how do we get more from per unit of human capital time. How do we get more innovation? And that would come to techniques and ideas of how you can inspire people to do the best there is. Let me try and end this part of the story with one story which is very unique of did this whole thing work. On one side, we can say the HCL financial returns, or the fact it became a $20 billion market company, and all this stuff is one part of success. But I think the success lies somewhere else. So there was a group of German business guys, German banking guys who came into our office, and nobody was there, and they were talking amongst themselves. And they said, you know what, we have seen whatever we wanted to see in Bangalore with this company. We are happy we're going to buy from that company. We are not going to buy from this company. Nobody has heard of HCL. So why don't we cut short our 7 hours of presentation which we had given to them, why don't we cut it down to maybe 1 hour and then go shopping, because we heard Delhi Heart is a great place to go. So this is the conversation they were having, and my receptionist was sitting there listening to this conversation. So she got up and said, "Sir, can I have a minute of yours?" Now, these German guys are not used to Indian women sitting in reception, standing up and speaking with this boom voice, and she has this boom voice. She says, "These kids have not gone home yesterday night. They have worked all through the night making presentation for you. I cooked breakfast for them and brought it to them so that they can eat. You do need to give them a chance for 2 reasons. Number one, I have not come across a set of more hardworking people than these people. Number one. Number two, I think they get it because they were very happy with what they have about to say to you." So they were very sheepish. They went into the room, they gave the 7 hours, they gave the order to HCL, and then the CEO of that company debriefed me on this receptionist making all the difference. She says that what your kids said in the 7 hours didn't matter at all. The order was yours when the receptionist stood. So there are many stories like that of employees first, customer second, which leads to a transformation of an organization. But one of the issues which I had in mind, which was bothering me, is employee first, customer second is really not liberation of the employee. It's because I'm still a CEO, and whatever I may say in the book or anywhere else, I can still sack the CEO and the employee. I can still sack the employee, and the employee can't sack me. So is it possible to motivate a set of people who do not report to me, whose salary I do not pay? And that idea was always bothering me. Is there a possibility of doing a transformation, of achieving impossible with sets of people by inspiring them with sets of people who do not take money from you? And that is why I quit when I turned 50. And me and my wife decided we were going to set Sampark Foundation to try and transform the lives of millions of kids. As you know, we have 144 million children, about 15 crore children, in our education system, government education system. Most of them can't read and write or calculate for nuts. So the question is, can we bring about a transformation at scale? And when we started looking at what is the problem of transformation at scale, I think we were stuck with the same idea that the teachers are not motivated, they are not trained, they don't want to do it, they don't want to do this, the government is not motivated, they don't want to do it, social sector, the whole set of problems. And I kept on telling my team that like the diamond cutter, because there is a rough diamond, there is an opportunity. So wherever there is a challenge, there is an opportunity for a breakthrough thinking. And that is what Sampark Foundation did. It created an audio device, it took it to villages, we started training the teachers, we started inspiring them, we started making them a big part of the program, and I'm not going to talk about what we are doing. So you can read about on our website, or there is a new book which I'm writing which is coming up in November. So we started looking at a new idea of inspiring people to try and see if we can transform the education system. We have 76,000 schools under our program, 7 million children in our program, 200,000 teachers work with us every day, and we have transformed learning outcomes. Remember, I was talking about grade 5 children cannot read and write and do computation. Under the National Achievement Survey, all the 4 states in which we work with, grade 2 children can do division and 3-digit division and multiplication and can construct. They did a play on 26th of January in English on Vineet Square called My Family, which was 100% in English, that they could speak in English. Now, that's the kind of transformation which is also possible in social sector, again, based on an idea and based on the power of the fact that if you empower an individual, that individual can create magic. I like to end this story, I like to end this speech with a story which all of us can relate with, because that is a single idea I'd like you to take out from this whole event. Whenever a child is born, the first person we call to see and bless the child is the mother, is the grandmother, right? Amma. And Amma comes to bless the child, and the kind of blessing the Amma gives, we all believe that it is special. And at least in my part of the country, when the Amma blesses, she defines a vision for the child, that you have long fingers and you will be an artist, your forehead is too wide and you'll be a NASA scientist, your legs are long and you'll be a PT Usha. That's kind of vision which Amma defines. When Amma defines that vision, nobody tries to search for logic. Nobody search for data. Nobody goes to Google Auntie and searches whether Amma is saying it right and wrong. Everybody believes in it. And then everybody tries to tell that story to that girl every day, that Amma thought that you would be this. And over a period of time, that girl starts believing in that story, that this is my story because that's what Amma thought. And over a period of time, that story becomes a reality. I think while we read books and while we take ideas from the books, remember that ant which was looking outside and wanted to be a butterfly. That is what we need. Take what you want from the world, but don't do what is written. Do what is worth